Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the 6th round post-fight show with me, Zane Simon, and my co-host, as always, the inimitable Eddie Mercado. Eddie, we're here coming to y'all right after the close of UFC 297. Dricus du Plessis, new UFC champion by split decision. And, it doesn't usually go down like that. It was a razor close fight, but I got no problems with the score. I kind of expected du Plessis would get the push. What did you think scoring it live?
Well, scoring it live, I had it 3-2 Strickland.
Oh yeah, well,
yeah.
I will say,
I thought I had it 2-2 going into the 5th, and I thought Strickland just pushed harder in the 5th round to take it.
Strickland unquestionably won the 5th round. I find it very funny that Dricus du Plessis jumped on the mic and was like, all the people out there saying I can't go, 5 hard rounds. What do you think about du Plessis rounds like 4 and 5? It's like everybody thinks you lost round 5.
Yeah, but he's champion. I can't.
He's champ. He can't, whatever. He gets his moment. But yeah, I had it rounds 1 and 5 were Strickland rounds. And if I did not know better, I would score round 3 a 10-10. That would be how I felt about it. Is that I thought rounds 2 and 4 was close. I thought du Plessis edged it pretty solidly. And
that's the one I gave Strickland.
You gave Strickland round 2?
Yeah.
It was close.
But it looked like he kind of wobbled him maybe there.
Yeah. It's hard to tell with du Plessis.
Right.
He kind of wobbles all over the place all the time.
It's true.
And round 4 was obviously a du Plessis round.
Yeah.
And it was round 3 where they really literally were just going shot for shot. And my only thought was du Plessis is, and I hated doing this. It was literally a body language thing. It was like
he's busier.
Du Plessis is busier. He's going forward. Yeah. And Strickland looks unhappy about the fight he's having.
Yeah.
And judges shouldn't be using that for criteria, but they do. If they're about to score, they all know that you cannot score a 10-10 round. You score a 10-10 round, Big John McCarthy will get out of his desk at Bellator, and he will come around and he will shove the official MMA scoring criteria and guidelines. He'll make you eat them. He'll shove them down your throat.
Hold on. Big John still has a desk?
I mean, Bellator's not dead. Right? They're still running some Bellator shows.
I don't know if they have desks anymore.
Okay, yeah, they might have sold off the desks. It's true. You got to recoup what you can out of that thing.
That's right.
But nobody scores a 10-10 round. Right. You score a 10-10 round, even the commission will pull you aside and be like, what are you doing? We don't do this here. This is not how it works. So knowing that, that even then judges are going to look at things like aggression, body language, stuff like that, and they're going to go, well, I guess you got to lean that way. And that was really, for me, that was ultimately what this fight came down to, because I had it 2-2 going into round, or I had it 3-2 or 2. I had 3-1 going into round 5, but it could have easily been 2-2.
Right.
And it was just, that one split round in the middle.
Well, I mean, I can see the second round being split.
Yeah.
That's cool for Strickland, but I can easily see how Dricus could have taken that round.
Yeah.
And I gave 3 and 4 to Dricus. So, not a robbery.
Yeah.
It's a really close fight.
It was a really close fight. And I think 1-3-5 Strickland is totally fine. I think 2-3-4 du Plessis is totally fine. I definitely don't think Duplessis won round 5, and I definitely don't think he won round 1, and I definitely don't think Strickland won round 4. So to me, 2 and 3 are your toss-ups.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I love the way it ended. Because I was really worried for Strickland. He really looked like he was out of the fight and just done. Didn't want to be there anymore.
Yeah.
Sticking out. But he fucking dug deep, man.
Yeah, he did.
He made it fun, and he went for it. And like we're saying, he took that last round.
Yeah, and all credit to him, too. He could certainly be a much sorer loser than he was after that, too. He said, like, I thought I won, but maybe I'm also just, being a pussy in his words. And, like, and was happy to shake Duplessis' hand and get out of there and whatever. He didn't. Maybe he'll go on about it, but I get the feeling that we probably won't be hearing a lot of him talking about getting robbed. It's not the Colby Covington show where he gets on there and starts talking about how there's a liberal bias in the judging and this liberal UFC culture just doesn't have any place. Yeah.
Since he spoke out against Trudeau,
That's right. They paid off that Canadian. I don't even think there were a couple local Canadian judges. I don't think any of them were involved in the title fight. Let me see. Decision.
It didn't sound like it from when they were reading it. It sounded pretty familiar to me, but we did get a 10-7 on this.
We had Cleary, Cologne, and D'Amato. So yeah, no Canadian judges in the main event. So yeah, otherwise, I mean, you can see the angle of what's next from a mile away. One of our listeners here putting the immediate rematch idea out there, but almost certainly the next thing on the radar here is going to be the Israel Adesanya fight. There was so much work put into building that fight up before Adesanya lost the belt. And then Adesanya was like, oh, I'm going to leave and I'm going to take this big hiatus and I'll be gone for like 2 or 3 years, whatever. And then, like 3 weeks ago, he's like, suckers, you all believed me. I'll be back. And then Duplessis gets on the mic and he's like, I want Adesanya next. The UFC is just going to make that fight. Like,
couple things.
Yeah.
I'm going to completely just digress for a second.
Okay.
Drake bet a whole bunch of fucking money on Sean Strickland. Is that true?
Okay. I heard a theory. It's a fan theory. It's a theory, but I would believe it. That Drake just has whenever he does these things with these big bets with these books, it's literally just a publicity stunt where they pay him to put down a bet in his name so it gets a bunch of publicity, and it doesn't actually ever get counted win or loss. He just gets paid for the publicity.
Yeah, I mean, could be.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I wouldn't be surprised. But the curse lives on.
But the curse does live on. The man does not pick winners.
Here's the other part of it. So they do their little post-fight interview with the winner, with Drickus. Yes. They do their post-fight interview with the loser, Sean Strickland. And then what do? They start playing Drake. I'm just like, the irony. The irony. But yeah. Sorry, what were you saying?
So I was asking you, Adesanya, Duplessis next. That seems like the obvious thing that they're just going to make happen.
If I were Drickus, I would try to get that title defense in. By the way, Sean Strickland, another guy who major upset in a title fight that went ahead and lost the belt in his very next fight. Mm-hmm. He joined the Holly Holm, Matt Serra, all those the one-hit wonders.
Well, a lot of times the major upset comes because a lot of really reasonably smart people believe that person is not that great. They're not like a real top championship fighter that's going to reign over the division. It's not what they see out there for him. Nobody saw Sean Strickland being the dude to beat Israel Adesanya other than Eric Nixick. I don't even know that Sean Strickland saw that he was the dude to beat Israel Adesanya.
Yeah.
Honestly, like the way he talked about that fight after he won it, he was like, I don't know who I was fighting out there, but it wasn't Israel Adesanya, you know? He was shocked.
And so, to that, like on that line of thinking, I cannot say Izzy's next. Like I can't until I hear Izzy or see him on a fight poster. I'm just gonna kind of wait on that and take like a Conor McGregor approach. Like when he's booked, he's booked. But until then, I'm just gonna count him out.
It would be, I will admit, it would be, and I hate putting this energy out there into the universe because it's such a fan theory thing to do. And I've already done that once on this show.
You need a tinfoil hat for this episode.
I do. I need to get out some foil. But it would be a hell of a thing to make Du Plessis versus Adesanya for UFC 300 as the main event.
Yeah. I would rather see Du Plessis and Sean Strickland's cornerman. Alex Pereira,
yeah.
At 205 or 185, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Either way, that's a fucking banger.
That is a great fight.
If you want to just do merit, you could do the winner of Vettori Brendan Allen. And that's if Brendan Allen wins.
Yeah, you could do some real weak shit like that.
Well, that's what I mean. Drick is get that defense in. That first title defense.
Yeah. They're going to do Adesanya. They're going to do I bet they would do a Robert Whittaker rematch before they did Brendan Allen off a win over Marvin Vettori.
I don't know. If he finishes Marvin Vettori, they got to do him. You got like 7 rear naked chokes in a row or something. It's not that many, but it's a lot.
No, they don't have to. Brendan Allen is ranked 7th, and a win over Marvin Vettori should never be the like absolute jumping off point. He beat Paul Craig and Bruno Silva in his last 2 fights.
It's like Marvin Vettori is the new Derek Brunson, and that's the thing. Drickus went the proper route to get the title. He went through Derek Brunson.
It's true. It's true. You called for it. You wanted it. They, more than anything, what they'd be more likely to do if they lack all that other stuff, they're more likely to give Khamzat Chimaev a title fight.
True. The broadcast was alluding to that.
Yeah.
And like that's fine too. But he's another guy, like unless he's booked.
I know. No, I don't. Much more than Adesanya. Adesanya, I believe, will fight this year. Khamzat Chimaev, I would be 0% surprised if he honestly never fought again. Like if he just was gone forever, because he's already had like a scary thing with COVID where he almost retired. He was talking about wanting to join the army to go fight in Palestine last time he was in the octagon. He's got those kinds of political connections and those kinds of other outside MMA aspirations where I can see him like easily having a foot out the door. Adesanya, he fought a lot. He fought a lot more than people even recognize because he got so annoying over time. Nobody won. Everybody was just like, oh man, why am I so tired of this guy? It's like, okay, A, he's getting really annoying. B, you're actually seeing him all the time. He's fighting like every 3 months, And so
and promoting fights and just constantly turning that wheel.
So I'm sure he needed the break, but I'm also pretty sure that he'll be back this year.
This whole division. It's like, where's Paulo Costa? Does he fight anymore?
Drinking secret juice. He's supposed to be booked to fight Robert Whittaker in California, but they asked him about the fight a couple days ago to ask him if he'd signed the contract, because obviously this is a fight they've had advertised like twice before, and each time Costa's been like, I never signed a contract. And Costa was like, oh yeah, I haven't gotten it yet, so I haven't signed it. Plus taxes in California are awful. It's just like, oh God. Just literally fight, please.
I think Whittaker Paulo does want to fight Whitaker, but his coach, Captain Eric, doesn't want him to fight that fight. Like, because why? That's a dangerous fight. Like, he fought Yoel Romero twice, beat him twice. That Robert Whitaker is a tall order. So I think there's a discrepancy there on what the next. They're playing chess. So,
yeah. Well, checkers. It's MMA. Let's not give it.
Well, sure.
There's some strategy, but you know.
Well, in this division, it's everyone's gone. Everyone's fighting.
Everybody's in the mix. It is currently Adesanya was a dominant champ. Before him, we had some, a lot of mixing and matching and all that, and we had before that, Anderson Silva was a dominant champ, and I think we're about to hit another era of the belt changes hands every couple fights.
Yeah, it's going through what light heavyweight's going through.
Mm-hmm.
That's why if I were Alex Pereira, I would drop right back down and fight Dricus and get that belt too.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Now we're going to talk about the co-main event.
Well, hold on real quick. One more thing. You know what I was really impressed with was Sean Strickland's ability to get back to his feet. His scramble ability. He had a nice switch out there. He did give up the takedown, but he was also adamant about getting back to open space.
No, yeah. Strickland, he fought well. He fought well defensively for his grappling was great defensively, but this also was a great proving point for why so few people were picking Strickland against Adesanya. And I know Adesanya is mostly kind of fighter, but he has been at times in his career much more willing to be a fighter who counters behind his jab, who puts out offense, draws out offense, responds to the offense he draws out. And what Dricus du Plessis proved once again is if you push Strickland back with combinations, he is so focused on hand parrying as a key part of his defense. He loves to swat punches and to keep his hands as an active defensive tool. He really can't be much of a counter fighter. So with Dricus, when he was going forward and putting 3 or 4 shots together, Strickland would end up like he's going to swat at 1 and 2, and then he ended up getting cracked by 3 and 4. And
he would be successful when he would go first and either be first with a jab or cut off Dricus right when Dricus was about to come forward and just intercept him.
But
and he got away from that in the third and in the fourth rounds, and his corner really chewed him out about it. It was like,
it was just all about how willing Dricus was to swarm forward, and had Adesanya been willing to keep his jab, to be first and keep his jab out there and be active on the front foot, could have been a different fight. But what we saw over Adesanya slowly over his UFC career has been a fighter who is less and less active and more a guy who wants to sit back and counter, and it's kind of fallen into that Woodley trap of like trying to set up the perfect couple strikes of offense in every fight. And it wasn't a pretty fight from du Plessis, but he definitely cracked the Strickland code there of just keeping him on the back foot, keeping him having to adjust and having to guess.
And he was down an eye.
Yeah.
One of his eyes was swollen shut.
Although that's also credit to the corner. They did a great job controlling that swelling. By rounds 4 and 5, like Dricus, his face was swollen a bit, but it wasn't nearly to the point where anything was closing up or anything. Like
it didn't have an orbital fracture or anything. He had a mouse, but it didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't.
Rounds 2 and 3, it was his left eye was looking real bad, but by rounds 4 and 5, they got the swelling down enough that it was fine. So that's good cut work from his corner. All right. We have to talk about the co-main event sometime. We can't avoid it forever.
All right.
Raquel Pennington, Mayra Bueno Silva. And look, all love to Raquel Pennington. She is the third fighter ever over the age of 35 below the welterweight or below the middleweight division to win a title fight in the UFC. Your sub middleweight title fight winners over the age of 35 are Tyron Woodley, Amanda Nunes, Raquel Pennington. That's it. So, all credit in the world to her. That is a great achievement. This fight looked like it was happening underwater. It was the slowest motion thing I have ever witnessed outside of a 30 for 30 highlight reel from ESPN. Like,
you've never drank promethazine, Sprite, and a Jolly Rancher. You never done the lean like these other kids, Robo tripping out here.
This was pure. What is it? The diazepam from Metal Gear Solid, like pure Metal Gear Solid sniper work. This was just absolutely. It was bad.
It was a bad fight. To the clinch where Rocky wanted to be but couldn't do anything with, and Silva didn't want to be but actually could do something with.
Yes,
it was exactly it. It was a very awkward dynamic they had going.
Yeah, it was. And I mean, look, I get it. Mayra Bueno Silva hasn't been to a 5th round since 2017 on the regionals, which is a whole different thing. But I believe this is her second fight training for 5 rounds. Second fight in a row training for 5 rounds. So she at least should have done the training work. And there's really, whatever way you want to go about it, she clearly quit on herself by the end of the fight.
Well, she gassed.
She gassed hard enough to quit on herself in the only title fight she might ever get in her whole career.
Nah. Who else is there?
Okay, it's true. It's women's bantamweight. She'll get 3 more.
Rocky Pennington just got a title shot.
I know.
But I think she might have gassed out, just taking the back standing.
Yeah,
she was trying to hold that. I think she petered out doing that. And the longer the fight went and the more she kept getting hit, because she wasn't blocking much. When it was in open space, the little bit of time that it was in open space, I mean, she was going full Pez dispenser. She wasn't blocking anything, just getting hit, and that's tiring. And then all that clinching. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. It does have to be said, we are now going to really be suffering with, not only will the next title fight be bad, but we have opened the door for Juliana Pena trash talk for the next several months in the build up to it. And I'm not looking forward to that.
No.
But yeah, this was just, Bueno Silva, like, I get it, you haven't been here before, but, being poorly trained, that's really that is a solvable problem that you could have come in here and you could have fixed coming in.
I don't know.
Yeah? You think every other fighter that fought like she did in this fight would have gassed like she did in this fight?
Maybe. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, when you take someone's back standing, like,
yeah,
that sucks. That is so tiring. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean,
if she did, it's just really unwise energy use because she didn't get nearly enough for that kind of effort that she put in.
Yeah, exactly.
It's what it cost her.
She wasted her effort. She won the round, but she wasted all that energy. And then when she was hunting takedowns, she was failing and pulling half guard.
Yeah,
like that's tiring. And then clinching the whole time, that's exhausting. That's the most exhausting part of all of this, honestly.
It is. But, Randy Couture, with just only a hint of potential testosterone use outside of that, he could clinch for 5 rounds all day. So,
oh, sure. Well, he was a Greco-Roman god, I guess.
Yeah. Wow.
Or at least in the MMA world. No one else had that Greco in them at that point in time.
Yeah. That's the key, Mayra Bueno Silva. Go get the Greco.
Does not have the Greco-Roman wrestling chops like a Randy Couture.
Yeah.
Or
Anyway.
a Muay Thai plum like Anderson Silva.
Yeah, I mean, Bueno Silva's game has always been really limited. It's just always sort of been a opportunistic trick finishing game. But yeah, Raquel Pennington, she shouldn't have been the wall at which that doesn't work anymore, but she was absolutely the wall at which that does not work anymore.
Well, hey, if the wall's in a title fight, fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, but it's in this title fight. Like,
she had moments to win, right? She had the couple triangle attempts.
She had her chances. But
shout out to Rocky for posturing up and escaping them, and just refusing to be played with some like diving on the leg.
Yeah.
Like just not having it. Like too seasoned, been around too long to fall for rolling for a knee bar or rolling for whatever. Just completely smashing her.
And hey, you know what? If Pennington gets to walk away from all this with like $1 million extra by the end of her MMA career, then good on her.
Yeah, that'd be wild.
Well, I mean, she'll get paid whatever she gets paid for this, probably $250,000 or whatever, and she'll get $500,000 for her next fight guaranteed, and maybe some pay-per-view points. All told, if that adds up to $1 million at the end of her career, then that's the amazing, an amazing late career turn for somebody who has been very much a kind of journeywoman for years.
Well, if you're not first, you're last. But if you can outlast everyone else, then you can be first.
Yeah, I mean, when she fought Holly Holm for the second time.
Oh shit!
We're talking 2020.
Oh, dude, there's a chance that one's coming down the fucking pipe as a main event. Oh,
yep. But we're talking.
Why'd you have to bring that up?
When she fought Holly Holm in 2020 and lost, she was 10-8 at that point.
Yeah.
Here
comes that main event.
Now she's 16-8. Although, too, at the same time, Valentina Shevchenko, just give up on Alexa Grasso. Go get the belt. It's right there. It's right there for you. Go be champ at 135. Literally nothing is stopping you.
I'm okay with that. I'd like to see it.
All right. Now we get our old guy feel good moment of the night for all us old guys in the audience. Although the fear for the children bad news moment of the night.
Damn, Zane. You're perpetuating.
I didn't say it. Neil Magny said it. But Neil Magny got absolutely worked. He got Neil Magny'd by Mike Malott for 2 rounds, just picked apart and held and grapple smothered.
If Neil Magny had calf kicks.
Instead of a jab, it was calf kicks. But it was a Neil Magny performance from Mike Malott. Just a very, here's my annoying range game, here's my smothering wrap-up grapple game that you just can't fight off. For 2 rounds. And Magny looked terrible. He has had 20 years to figure out calf kicks. Has not done it. He has had 20 years to figure out how to grapple off his back. Has not done it. This man Mike Malott was out there looking like Damian Maia on Neil Magny. Just passing his guard like butter every chance he gets. Noted, wait, is this guy actually a striking coach? Striking coach Mike Malott out there just absolutely wrecking Neil Magny with a body lock takedown. Like 7 minutes. And then Magny got 1 takedown on Mike Malott. And in the vivisection, Connor and I were both like, this is the y'all must have forgot fight of the card, because Mike Malott's best win is Mickey Gall.
I know.
And he was jumping up from Mickey Gall. In his last fight, Mike Malott beat Adam Fugit. Adam Fugit and Johan Linus, who we saw get absolutely wrecked by Sam Patterson on the early prelims. Those are Mike Malott's past 2 wins. And everybody was like, oh, yeah, well, he's going to go beat Neil Magny. It's just like, Neil Magny is a huge step from this.
Huge step up. And that gave me pause picking Malott going in. But I was like, Malott's nasty. And Malott almost won this one. He was 15 seconds away from winning this one.
He absolutely showed up. He showed up like I was just like, oh, man, we were so stupid. But this is also that's right. You already mail it. Get it in a box and put my address on it, Eddie.
So, just so you know, 2023 staff pick champion right here. Yours truly.
Yeah.
With that being said, Chris Curtis was the only fight I picked correctly on the main card.
Oh.
I did terrible this week.
I did. The prelims ate me up. Main card, I did good. But I mean, the thing was, this loss was a out of your depth loss from Mike Malott. It was you are used to beating up bums who go away, and here's a dude who is still there pressing you when you thought you already had the fight won. And he collapsed. It was a complete implosion.
Honestly, if he wouldn't have gone for that guillotine, he probably would have won the fight.
Yeah.
He went for the guillotine thinking he was slick, low time, and Magny's like, get that shit off of me. And then he goes for a single leg X attack, trying to go for a heel hook, trying to be cute with the leg locks, straight ankle to the knee bar to the heel hook, to getting fucking smashed.
Yeah.
Just smashed. Like, you got TKO'd by Neil Magny.
Low IQ move right there.
Very low. Very low.
And that's an inexperience. Like, that is just that is the kind of result of that kind of jump from smashing dudes who go away easy to fighting somebody who doesn't, you know? Because you're fighting Adam Fugit, you don't even get a chance to make those kinds of dumb mistakes. Fugit just collapses before you do.
But it's really weird to see him collapse like that, though. Like, I mean, that's concerning.
It's concerning, but it's only weird when you consider that the last time he faced a really good competition, it was Hakeem Dawodu, and he lost then too. Like, it's weird, except that he's never beat anybody very good. And so it's a danger sign now that he's facing good competition. He'll need to correct it, and who knows if he can or not. You know, he's already in his early 30s, but it's the wrong time. It's a little late to be finding your Achilles heel.
Good fighters.
Yeah.
Experienced, tough fighters.
Yeah.
UFC caliber fighters.
Yeah. Not just the Dana White Contender Series mess. All right. So yeah, Magny, he's hanging out right there in that, like, you must be this tall to ride edge of the top 15. Still another year, more Neil Magny, gatekeeper.
Let's go, Neil Magny.
Yeah. Who's the next?
Hey, Zane, I'll bet you 5 donuts that Neil Magny doesn't get another knockout finish.
You know what? I'll take that bet, because sooner or later he's going to lose a couple more fights, and they're going to really match him up with some Bobo again, and he'll stomp him.
He might submit him. I don't think he's going to.
I will buy you 5 donuts.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. In the meantime, who's the next guy that seems like he could be about to, like, go on a run that people are kind of excited about?
At 170?
Yeah.
Where's Jack Della Maddalena?
Oh, he's already on to bigger things.
Yeah,
Jax.
what's he doing?
He is fighting. Oh, wait, let me. He is fighting Gilbert Burns at UFC 299. Yeah.
2 months away.
We got, I was going to say, Brian Battle's fighting Ange Lusa, but Battle also lost his last fight, too. Guess we'll get him out there. Oh, Michael Morales, maybe? That would be the next Neil Magny fight. Sounds about right. He's unbeaten, currently coming off a win over Jake Matthews and Max Griffin. Magny feels like the next logical step.
Sure.
All right. Anyway, that brings us to a middleweight bout. Chris Curtis, Marc-Andre Barriault, and okay, so that was more of a Spanish Barriault than the French Barriault.
Sure.
Yeah, but Marc-Andre Barriault, and this was, I mean, I like Chris Curtis a lot. I like his game a lot. But the action man really is kind of a weird misnomer for him, because he is so much the like slow and steady, cautious, pick your spots man. And it pretty much leads him to close fights in every fight where he doesn't get a knockout. And Barriault's tough as hell. And Curtis, he started to get his fight the further it went. But he let Barriault be right there nip tuck with him every step of the way.
That's just, I think, kind of somewhat of an unexpected stylistic matchup. I really expected, I expected Barriault to just come forward and Curtis to come step back countering. And when Barriault didn't come forward, Curtis is like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do if you're not going to give me anything? It took him a while to actually figure out, I need to draw something out. I can't.
Yeah, he almost got into that Jack Hermanson mode where he was just getting really frustrated. And it's just like, dude, if your opponent's not going to punch first, you got to punch first. You can't just stand there and wave them into the center and say, do something. Like, you also have to do something.
Yeah, and he did. He started ripping to the body, He started going forward. And I thought it was a pretty decent fight as it went on. By round 3, it really picked up.
Round 3 became the fight we'd all hoped to see, which was Barriault biting down and Curtis responding, and both men just going back and forth, hammer and tongs inside that dynamic. Barriault has gotten a lot better over his UFC career. A lot better.
Sure.
Like, this is a fight that he would have lost, no question, 3 or 4 years ago, when he was dropping fights to Krzysztof Jotko.
He probably would have got finished by Curtis.
Yeah. But now he has improved a lot, and he knew what he needed to do to draw a bad fight out of Chris Curtis, and he almost got the win. Fun fight in the end.
I didn't know how. How is this a split decision? You got 2 30-27s and a 29-28 the other way.
Let's see. What do our this was a fight that I actually I think I said when it closed that it could have easily been a 30-27 either way.
Damn.
Because I picked Curtis as the winner. I felt he did enough to win, but like, the first 2 rounds of this fight were both just dead close. Neither guy doing enough. Curtis forcing himself to lead while also eating a lot of shots.
No, the second round he busted the nose of Barriault.
And then the third was them just both going back and forth, hammer and tongs.
Third was close.
By the stats, it was Curtis getting credit for 140 of 258 strikes and Barriault getting credit for 122 of 243 strikes. So, and that's all numbers that the judges aren't seeing. So they were real close in every round. But I'm glad that Curtis's his better quality of strikes showed through. But that's chancy work for the judges. And these are MMA judges we're talking about here, Eddie. I mean,
yeah, I know. It's just wild to see a split decision with 2 30-27s and then one card the other way.
I know. All right. Yeah, great fight for Curtis. He really kind of a must-win fight for him too, because he had gotten himself right up into the bottom of the rankings and was kind of getting beat out of them to a point where it's just like, okay, well, you're 36 and you're on your late career run. You get to the UFC, you're making your run up the division, you're losing the big fights, and now you take the step back to Barriault, and it is a step back. You kind of got to win this fight, So
sure.
Could set him up for.
He suffers from the same thing Sean Strickland does.
Mm-hmm.
He's just, like you were saying earlier, he's just in these close fights. It's his style.
Yeah. It is. He's such a perfectionist of like, oh, I want to see just the right strike come, and I'm going to counter it with just the right move. And if I don't see just the right strike, I'll just wait, and I'll wait until something better.
You know what? It's a lot like how Masvidal used to fight back in the day when he was losing all
very similar. It's a very similar career path, honestly, for both of them. These are both dudes who fought a ton before ever getting to the UFC, and then put together late runs. For Masvidal, he carried it to title fights, but Curtis, it's a very similar style and career path they both were on. But yeah, now we could, potentially get another fight like Kyle Bahayo or Paul Craig or something like that, borderline top 15.
Yeah, those are definitely fun. Interesting.
Yeah.
Both grapplers.
All right. That moves us to a featherweight bout. Movsar Evloev, Arnold Allen. And
this is a robbery.
A robbery?
Not because of the scoring.
Because of
the whole.
Because of the knee rule.
Yeah.
Which I will say, I don't know if you were on Twitter when I was on the account, and I was like, that's bullshit. Under any good interpretation of the hand down rule, it should be a weight bearing hand.
Right.
If you're not putting weight on it, it's not an illegal knee. But Ontario's rules are like 10 years out of date, apparently. So literally any part of the body but the soles of the feet being on the mat is automatically no knees to the head of a grounded opponent under Ontario ruling, which is bullshit. A lot of water has gone under the bridge since we had those rules. And even then, the spirit of that rule is not supposed to be fingers down. Like, you can remember back in the day when John Jones came out and he was all like crouching and Vitor Belfort threw a head kick at him. And Big John McCarthy's like, you're playing the game. I don't care. Because the spirit of the rule is not meant to protect somebody playing the game. It's meant to protect somebody who is in a defenseless position.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think that was, I understand the call. I respect the call. But the call, the rule is bullshit. It's a shitty situation. Evloev was hurt.
Yep.
That could have been a finishing situation. It could have led to a 10-8 situation. And so that's what I mean when I say there's a robbery. There was an intervention from the official for a situation that's a gray area. And that sucks. Like, it shouldn't be a gray area. It should be fucking legal across the board always. One hand down, two hands down, no hands down, one knee down, an elbow down. I don't care. A knee should be legal.
Yeah.
It could be.
You're not going to get disagreement from me, but I will also just say, in the spirit of the rules, it should be legal even with the way the rules are written by the spirit of the rule. That's not what
man, history would be so different. Peter Yan would have never lost to Aljo. This fight wouldn't have gotten stopped. Anthony Smith might have gotten finished by John Jones.
I mean, the Peter Yan one is very much the spirit of the rule. Even by the spirit of the rule, it's illegal what Yan did.
Sure.
But you're right. If we allowed them all the time, it would be totally different. And yeah, I mean, the biggest thing otherwise for me here, though, is this is exactly like I picked Evloev because this was a 3-round fight and not a 5-round fight. If this had been a 5-round fight, I probably would have picked Arnold Allen. But the chances of him getting out wrestled for a couple rounds and that being enough to sway the whole thing were just too high. But by the end of this fight, Allen was putting it on him. And I still have this feeling like Evloev really needs another gear as a striker, defensively, if not offensively, to be an elite competitor at the top end of this division. Like he's still, going to be knocking on the door of a title shot after this, but it really does feel like he might have a lot of trouble with the very best in 5-round fights.
I scored this for Allen. I gave him the first and the third. I credited him the striking on the feet. I felt like the grappling didn't account for much damage at all. And then the third round, I mean, come on now. I
can understand it. Third round, he definitely won. I could understand an argument for the first. I did not think any judges would give it to him, and none of them did. I just thought that because even without the control, slamming takedowns are still counted as like effective offense. And he had some times where he tossed Allen to the mat hard, and he was the offensive force over the back half.
I'm not trying to hear this shit.
Look, I'm just telling you why the judges scored the way they did. I'm not saying that you have to be wrong.
Counted much more than it did for Allen in that first round. That's all I'm saying.
I'm. You know what? I don't think you're out of pocket.
But Evloev, he did let his strikes go in the second round.
No, he won the second one unquestionably.
He found a way to hurt Allen, get some respect, and but his grappling was low damage.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I thought Allen won this fight.
Look, I can see the argument. All I'm saying is that now you do Evloev, Josh Emmett, and you make it a 5-round fight.
Sure.
Because Evloev has to strike in the pocket. He doesn't have a range game. And Emmett is hard as hell to take down.
Yeah.
Nobody holds down Josh Emmett. And
he's nuclear in the pocket.
Yeah.
That man.
I want to watch that fight. That's all I'm saying. Don't do Movsar Evloev Giga Chikadze. I don't want to see that.
Right. Fuck no. That's a waste of Giga.
Yeah. Otherwise, Evloev called it for his title shot, and with Allen ranked number 4 in the division, he just might get it. Who knows? We'll see if Ilia Topuria wins. That'll change a lot of things because Yair Rodriguez is fighting Brian Ortega, and those are two dudes that have absolutely fought Alexander Volkanovski, but have absolutely not fought Ilia Topuria. So, if there's a shakeup there, we'll see what happens. All right. That brings us down to the prelims, where Garrett Armfield beat Brad Katona. I kind of thought Katona won this, but I also don't.
I scored it for Katona. I don't know what's going on with the scorecards. I've scored so many of these fights the other way, and I'm like, is it me? Am I fucking? Has the success gone to my head, Zane?
Yeah. I thought Katona won this too, but he's very clearly a very strong, fast, good athlete who fights without a game plan. It's just all figuring out what the move he can do in the moment is, what the opening in the moment is. There's no structure to his game at all. And it kind of means he fights down to the level of all his opposition. And he really paid for it this time. He doesn't lose a lot of fights, but almost every Brad Katona fight I have seen has looked razor close, even against guys he was way better than, and he just paid for it here.
Unfortunately, I
Yeah,
he won it. I don't know.
I thought he won it too, but I'm not going to go out there and campaign for it. It was a close fight, and
a lot of the fights on this card could have gone the other way.
yeah,
It's weird that they're all on the same card though.
yeah. Now before that, we got Charles Jourdain, Sean Woodson, and
Split decision that
I had this
went the other way.
You thought for Jourdain?
Yeah, I thought the second round was really close, but I thought he just did better work on the feet.
I think I picked Woodson to win it. I thought Jourdain figured out the fight he needed to have in round 3, though. Like by round 3, it was like, oh yeah, this is the potential for you to win this fight was right here all along. Yeah.
I think it was just difficult for him to deal with that range of Woodson.
Yeah, it was. He wanted, because he started out with this whole I'm going to fight him out at kicking range.
Yeah.
This is that's a terrible idea. You can't win this fight against a guy who has 9 inches of reach on you at kicking range. And he didn't. And by the time he figured out he had to come forward and swarm, he figured it out late, but it took a while. And round 2 was a close tipping round. I'm not going to, say this couldn't have gone either way, but I'm not surprised Woodson won it.
First round was close too. I'm not going to lie.
Sure.
I thought Woodson took the first one, but it was still pretty close.
Let's see. What do we have statistically here? We have Woodson. He outlanded Jourdain 2-1 in round 1 by stats. I don't know, I know we don't want to put too much weight on those things because
what was the second round though?
Second round was 22-28 for Woodson, so it was very close. Although 41-27 for total strikes, but significant strikes. Very close. And then round 3 was dead even, 21-20. So with Jourdain landing the more total strikes.
And having that late guillotine attempt. That was
having the submission attempt.
Close.
Yeah. I thought Jourdain clearly figured out what to do in round 3, but it was, it was just not a great performance early from him, and Woodson's style is, it's not.
He's like a 7-foot featherweight.
Yeah.
That's tough to deal with, man.
It is.
Like fighting a tree.
All right. Before that, we had Ramon Taveras, Sergey Side, and
thought this one went the other way.
Yeah, I picked Side too here. I thought Side won.
I got nothing, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, once again, just
that second round though, right? Because Tavares, it's not Tavares.
No, it's Taveras. Yeah.
Tavares. He scored. He got a knockdown. He scored a knockdown.
Yeah.
But he also got his nose exploded.
Yeah, that was the thing, is that I thought that even getting knocked down in round 2, I thought Side did enough that he might have come back and taken that round, because the back half of it was a pretty dominant round for him over the back half of that round. And then round 3, I thought he won. And so I gave him rounds 2 and 3. And Taveras, I gave round 1.
Right.
But, whatever.
And the dude missed weight by 4 pounds. Missed weight again.
Yeah, that's the thing that to me sucks. This was a fun fight. So you can't be like, oh, I will say, Side never should have accepted this rematch. You got a TKO over a dude who missed weight the first time. You got nothing, okay, Dana White hated it. You got nothing to prove. You don't need to go back and redo this. Move on. Be like, no, I'm sorry that that he thinks he could have won that fight. He didn't. I'm moving on. That's all. I don't care. But to take this fight again and have the dude miss weight again, and then for you to come out the loser, like, that just sucks. That is why you don't take this rematch. It's a stupid, worthless fight on the bottom end of a UFC card. Nobody cared about it in the world. Dana White probably didn't even show up in the octagon by the time this fight was on. He was probably still like out having drinks and playing craps, you know?
Yeah, but maybe he was like, hey, I need to burn through this starter contract.
No, I mean, I get it. UFC has all the cards here. They tell you to take this fight. You're going to take this fight. But it sucked. It was a fight that didn't need to get booked. And even though the fight was fun, you still got to look at this for CJ and just be like, man, you got jobbed. Like, you got talked into a raw deal.
He'll probably get talked into it again.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, these fighters got no leverage.
I'd watch this again. This was a great fight.
It was fun. If you're CJ now, then you demand that you get it back. Like, now you CJ's in the position where he's got to be like, no, you've got to. This dude missed weight twice. You have to let me have this fight again. Not carrying a loss to
kind
this
of home
dude.
cooking.
Yeah.
No kind of Canadian love for. Canada they didn't do that great tonight.
No, they did not. Not a good night for the Canadian dudes.
No.
Canadian ladies came through. Canadian dudes did not. All right. That brings us to Jillian Robertson, Polyana Viana. And this was like the easy lock of the whole card. I know now we're doing staff picks. I'm sure you had it. I think you even tweeted out you had it as your lock of the card.
Yep, she was my lock.
I had it as my lock of the card. I had it as my bonus winner fight of the card. It got a bonus.
Did she get a bonus?
She did.
Well, I guess that doesn't. Well, I guess it does matter because it's points now.
Yeah, it's points now.
I had an abysmal week, but I got the points, the bonus points.
That's right. You get the bonus points. That's what matters. So
feeling a little bit like Sean Strickland over here.
But yeah, this was just kind of a really easy call. Good fight for Robertson. After this, she's calling for a ranked top 15 opponent. I guess, whatever. Could do her against like Angela Hill or Michelle Watterson.
Does Watterson even fight anymore?
I mean, she just fought.
She's like on a 6-fight losing streak or something.
4-fight losing streak. Just got her absolute shit wrecked by Marina Rodriguez in September of last year.
Yeah.
But that's only a few months ago.
I guess Robertson's not a bad matchup for her, though.
Yeah.
But what I liked here is how Robertson went for that arm bar in the first round, and she didn't get it, and she ended up on the bottom. And so in the second round, the arm bar was there all day, and she's like, nah.
Nope.
I'm gonna pass on this in lieu of the ass whooping and just beat the brakes off of her.
Oh man, I just saw though. Apparently, Neil Magny did not get a performance bonus
for his 5 seconds of awesome.
Well, I mean, it was a hell of that. If you're not going to give a performance bonus for that kind of comeback, like that is a magical comeback. It was a terrible performance from him overall, but it's a momentary. You know, you got to reward the brilliance.
It was a magical moment.
Yeah,
but who got the bonuses?
Bonuses: Strickland du Plessis got fight of the night.
Oh, I picked that to be fight of the night. Let's go.
Oh man, I did not. If I picked anything to be, I think, what did I pick to be fight of the night? I probably picked Woodson. No, I picked Evloev Allen, I think, or Woodson.
I wanted to pick that so bad, but then I didn't.
I might have also picked Woodson Jordan. One of those.
Really?
I was trying to think of a fight that there was no way one guy could just get laid on or ground out for 5 rounds.
Okay.
So.
No, you went Chris Curtis, Marc-Andre Barriault.
Okay, I went Curtis Barriault, which that had a reasonable
third round.
Yeah, round 3. But so Strickland, Duplessis, one fight of the night. Robertson and Jasudavicius got performance bonuses.
Okay. Yeah. I'm fine with that.
Sure. Yeah. I would have given Magny one for the comeback, but anyway. Sam Patterson, Johan Lines, just an absolute shit show of a fight, if we're being honest. Lines got taken down from a front headlock. Look, I know Sam Patterson is like 8 feet tall, but Lines, you're not a small welterweight. You're not tiny out there. What are you doing getting taken down from a front headlock?
Well, Patterson put himself in that situation. This was a systematic strangulation, like from start to finish, from the way he got into that front headlock to the shucking him down to the taking of the back. I mean, this was it was systematic. Everything was just one after another. Lines just didn't know what to do. It was just letting it happen. Like they seemed miles apart.
Yeah, he didn't have any idea. It's just, you should not be getting to the point, even if it's systematic. You should there are like 2 or 3 steps in that system where you should be like, oh hey, I should not let this happen. I'll just stop and like back away and turn and break the hands here.
But like when he took the back, he already had.
Oh no! But by the time he took the back, we're way too far in. Right. I'm just talking at the point where your opponent is standing, facing in front of you, and then gets their armpit over the top and back of your head and has you in a front headlock, and then starts dragging you. There's a point right in there where you should be like, oh wait, I should probably stop this from happening.
Yeah, for sure.
You know.
Yeah, that's a faux pas.
We got a question here. How low will this rank on pay-per-view buys? I'm going to say 350,000 with the caveat that it might be lower because right-wing trolls don't only pirate pay-per-views anyway. So it might only be 200,000.
Oh. Are you going to blame Canada? I have no idea. I'm not even going to weigh in on how many buys he did. It couldn't have been. It's not on pay-per-view in Canada, right? I thought that was a USA thing.
I don't know. Canada, let's see. It might have been pay-per-view in Canada. Yes.
But I mean, aside from the main event,
it was on Sportsnet Plus, I know, and I don't know if Sportsnet Plus does pay-per-view for Canada or not. I no longer remember.
Yeah, I mean, maybe somewhere around there.
But I would bet that like
no records were broken.
It would be sub 500,000, but I could see it doing okay in that just because Strickland has energized a sizable portion of MMA fandom that is there just for like, you know,
it's not gonna eclipse Power Slap 6, you know.
Yeah. No. All right. Now let's move into the last couple fights here. Jasmine Jasudavicius, Priscilla Cachoeira. I really thought Cachoeira had a chance to like go out there, make Jasudavicius come to her, and land big shots in the pocket with Jasudavicius doing her whole walk forward and throw Terminator thing. Because Jasudavicius is not like fast or a great shot wrestler. She's just, you know, tends to have to like clinch up and fight her way to the ground and all that and walk in through shots and all that. Instead, Cachoeira just like bum rushed her and made Jasudavicius look like the best shot wrestler since Cain Velasquez.
I don't know about that.
I know it's hyperbolic, but like let herself get power doubled across the octagon by how badly she gave her hips up in that fight. And then pretty much just got her ass absolutely whipped all the rest of the way, every minute for the rest of the fight.
The only time I ever thought Priscilla Cachoeira had a moment or had a chance or even a glimmer of hope in this fight was when it was announced that this was getting moved to 135 pounds instead of flatweight.
Yeah, you're smarter than me.
I was like, okay, so they're gonna try to salvage this fight. They're not even gonna do the attempt to get this down to 125 and go through that whole rigmarole. I was like, well, shit, Jazz DeVicious, she's coming to grapple. Cachoeira is going to be huge. So maybe she can stop the takedown. Cachoeira can maybe stop the takedown, keep it on the feet, and let her heavy hands go. But no way. Fuck that. She was getting choked.
Yeah. You're smarter than me. I thought Cachoeira might have been able to do something like the Lipsky fight, make her walk in and catch her cold. But it was never gonna. She got a 10. Jasuna Vicious got a 10-7. She got a 10-7. And you know what?
281 more strikes.
Yeah, I'm not even mad about it.
What? You know what I am mad about? They called it an anaconda. This was a darce.
Yeah.
How dare they disrespect?
Well, this is a good point somebody made that with Dricus's eye, the idea that they could do Adesanya at UFC 300, probably not. With how bad it's full up. Anyway, finally, Jimmy Flick, Malcolm Gordon, and Malcolm Gordon, also in the same sort of Cachoeira vein, really had the path right there to beat Jimmy Flick and just absolutely went crazy trying to bum rush him. I guess probably because he knew this was the last fight of his career, which he wasn't telling anybody else. Because the moment he lost, he took his gloves off, and I expect he's done. But he was trying to put a stamp on Jimmy Flick and instead just gave up a really pretty nice duck under from Jimmy Flick to take his back and end up getting the submission.
He was determined to find a way to get submitted.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
Right. You had the near triangle in the first round. You had that he went for the guillotine and reversed into a Von Flue.
Yeah.
Wicked. So he was going to do whatever he could to get submitted, and he found a way.
He did. And Flick was on rubber legs. Like all you had to do is just back off a minute. Flick's wrestling was not effective at any point on the front foot. Not one shot that he tried worked. It was only Malcolm Gordon going absolutely batshit, and Flick, like I say, he hit that nice duck under for like a basically standing back take to drag this fight down, and that was. But then afterward, Flick described himself as if Khabib and Damian Maia had a baby. And I just got to say, that must have been one fucked up kid, because if that's the child, that is not the grappling. That is not the grappling of that marriage.
It might be the striking. He might have been talking about his striking. Although Khabib did drop Conor.
Yeah, no. Khabib actually, he was athlete enough to have some surprising hands.
Yeah.
And Maia had form. I will still remember that whole Damian Maia is just as bad a striker as Ben Askren debate, and then they put them in the octagon together, and Maia just mopped the floor with Askren standing.
Yeah. I remember when Colby Covington got a little upset because I asked him whose striking was better, his or Damian Maia. And then Maia went out and pieced him up on the feet. Yeah,
Maia had form. Khabib had the speed and power. Even from that standpoint, Jimmy Flick is maybe like
it's more like a Dustin Hazlett and or like you clone Dustin Hazlett, like Multiplicity, where
Yeah, and they started to run out of toner. Like the later clones were just, yeah. All right. On that note, we are going to be over on our Substack with a little bit of bonus content here in a minute, but we are wrapping up everything else for our main six round post-fight show. Thank you all for listening. If you are not already a subscriber to our Substack, jump on, subscribe, help Bloody Elbow out, keep us going. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, and we'll be back in 2 weeks' time for UFC Fight Night Imavov versus Dolidze. That's definitely a main event that I remembered was happening, the UFC was putting on. Where else could it be but the Apex, folks?
Back to the old Apex.
Until then, thanks, everyone, for tuning in, and we will see you next time.